All right, welcome back to another episode of Talking Life. This video is going to be called How Can You Marry Someone When You Keep Divorcing Yourself? This title came to me as I was talking to a buddy of mine. We were having a conversation talking about, we're concerned about one of our friends, and that's literally just what came out of my mouth. I'm like, how can you marry somebody or even think of marrying somebody when you keep divorcing yourself? So yeah, me, a guy who's never been married, never been close to, proposing or being engaged or anything like that. How can someone without those experiences give advice or be able to talk about a subject that he has not really had full-on experience with? Well, in my journey of self-growth, and also looking at the people in my life from past years or now and what I've learned, there are certain things that you got to get right with yourself before going into a business, before proposing to somebody, before getting into a relationship, before starting to go out on dates. There are things you got to do. You have to prepare. And if you're still in a place where you're not happy with your choices, your past choices, you're not sure about what you want to do, you don't know what your passions are, you can't afford to even get your own place, if you're still living at your parents and you're in your 30s, not because you choose to, but because, who chooses to stay with their parents in their 30s? Something must be up. I don't know, but if you're not able to take care of yourself, how can you ever think that you could take care of a spouse or even kids, be able to have a mortgage or even pay a larger rent, for more rooms, more space, stuff like that? How is that even possible? It happens too often where people get into relationships and then, a year or two down the road, because they haven't had the guts to leave, even though they're not happy, they're not as fulfilled in that relationship, they've become complacent. Both the guy and the girl, they become complacent. They don't push each other anymore. They don't grow together. And instead of separating or getting divorced or breaking up, because both know it's like, we deserve better. It's like, I want my partner, even though I want her to be happy, even if it's not going to be with me, because she deserves to be loved the way she wants to be loved, vice versa. So, but most people stay and they settle, and then they get married because, they get pressure from their friends, from their family members who are also married and potentially are not happy in their relationships, but they need some confirmation bias from their friends or their family members to make them feel better about the poor decisions that they've made. It makes them feel better, like, okay, at least I'm not the only one. I must be doing something right if my friend also just did this. You know what I mean? So it's a journey. It's a journey. Your entire life, till the day you take your last breath, it is a journey. It never stops. But if you want these things, or you want these relationships, you want to get married, you need to know that you've covered all the bases, that you have taken care of your own happiness, that you have figured out what your passion is, what you love to do. You need to be happy before you choose to spend the rest of your life with somebody that you love. Because if you're not, you're putting this unreasonable expectation onto them. It might not be verbal or this and that, but it's usually subconscious. And then after some time, when they don't fulfill you the way you want, like when you realize that they're not the source of your happiness, you begin to resent them. And why do you think so many people fall into over drinking, drugs, or overeating? Because they're finding ways to make them feel happy within this relationship, so that then they can continue to stay in it. Look, I get it. It happens, and this is no judgments. It's completely understandable why people do this. The nightly glass of wine or bottle of wine, and then it's because they come home and then their partner's there. They're gonna be there. Have a sip of wine, whatever it is. It helps them to go about the next 6 hours before they go to bed? There's so much that goes into this. So how can you marry someone if you still keep divorcing yourself? Divorcing yourself meaning you give up. You give up. How much money it costs, how much you overspend on things that really aren't giving you happiness, that how much are you losing? How much are you losing? How much do we lose on a daily basis? Like years. We lose time, we lose energy, we lose friends when we don't take care of ourselves. Because eventually the people that are in our lives, if they are people who take care of themselves, whether go to the gym, they stay healthy, they have a healthier mindset, they try to reduce the stress in their life. If you're a friend or you're a person in their lives that is doing the opposite and not, why do you think people come in and out of your life? You know, 1 year you might have three or five really good friends, and then a year after, 2 years after, only 2 of them are around. It's just what happens in life. You know, it's so cliche, we hear it all the time. It's like, how can you expect to truly love somebody if you don't love yourself? Why don't you love yourself? You know, and again, this isn't a judgment. This is like, ask yourself, why don't I love myself? Or where am I giving negative like self-talk? What do I tell myself that I'm a loser? Do I say, why did you do that? Why do you keep doing that? God, like you suck, you're a failure. I hope that's not copyright. It's just so important to ask yourself these questions, because too many of us, and the reason why I'm saying this is because I've been there as well. Sometimes you go on dates just to fill up the time because you feel lonely. Well, why do you feel lonely? Why? What are you doing or what are you not doing that's contributing to you feeling lonely? You shouldn't be lonely. Damn, you should be your best company ever. It's so funny, like lately I've been talking to people that I've been driving, and you know, every now and then there'll be somebody on the road that either honks at me or like zooms around and then just points at me, and instead of getting upset, I just laugh. I laugh because I'm like thinking, like, why are they having such a reaction? I didn't do anything illegal, I wasn't a jerk on the road, but something in them caused a negative reaction, which was ridiculous, and it made me laugh. And that happens when I have somebody in the car or I'm alone in the car. You should be able to laugh either at yourself. You should be your best company. That's how it's meant to be. You don't need anybody else. Yes, there are other people in this world, and we're all connected, and you can't get by, meaning you can't. If you want certain opportunities and things to happen, yes, it usually is facilitated through other people coming into your life. You have connections, networking and all that, yes, but you don't need them to be happy. There's a big difference. Happiness, really, it's not just one thing. Happiness is different for every single individual on this planet. You know, what is your definition of happiness? Does it mean being a father, being a mother? Does it mean being a successful business person? Does it mean having enough money in the bank account where you can do anything you want? Does it mean freedom? You know, for instance, like the way I live my life now, some people don't look good at it. Like I saw somebody recently for a few months that told me, you know, I can't be with somebody who's an Uber driver. Yeah, I mean, that said a lot. That said a lot, not about me, but it said a lot about her. And, you know, I'm not an Uber driver to be a career Uber driver. It gives me the flexibility so that I can, when auditions come up, when I go write with my buddy, developing a TV show, having time to go do cornhole league or axe throwing league, for a chance to meet new people, to break out of my comfort zone, and to go out on dates, because, you know, I think dating is super important. It gives me my ideal lifestyle, which I love. Who doesn't want to just be able to get up whenever they want to get up and then work whenever they can work and still have enough to do all the things that you want? I am happy. I truly am happy. So that then when I meet some new people, some guys, potentially becoming new friends, or I'm going out with a lucky lady, somebody who I think is worth my time, I'm happy. And I don't need them to feel happy. So that then when they're in my presence, they actually get to share in my happiness. They get to feel my energy. And it's addicting, not addicting. It's contagious. It's contagious. And I mean, think about people that you've met in your life where you just meet them and they have this energy where you feel better, you feel good. That is the result of you personally being happy, actually being happy without other people contributing to that you are the contribution to your happiness. So this really isn't about marriage, but it's one focal point about it. But it's really just about finding out what makes you happy, and if you're unhappy, why are you unhappy? What are the things that you're doing that are contributing to your unhappiness, and what are the things you can do to bring happiness into your life? So I believe in you. If you're watching this, you're miles ahead of other people, and if you feel like this can help somebody else in your life, a friend, a loved one, a partner, whatever it is, please feel free to share this with them. And hit subscribe if you aren't subscribed yet, and hit that bell, because I just have to say it. It's what we YouTubers say. And I'll see you on the next episode. Have an amazing week.